Well, James Gunn's quest to find a new Superman has a massive update from The Hollywood Reporter. Let's take a couple minutes to break down today's story and talk about who's leading the charge to play Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor. Well, earlier today we got a pretty unexpected update from The Hollywood Reporter. As many of you know, James Gunn and Peter Safran are currently working to find their new Superman. And the team at THR dropped a report earlier today, and we have the short list for names bubbling up for Clark Kent, Lex Luthor, and Lois Lane. So let's not beat around the bush and dive right into who is topping the lists. Now, at the top of the list for Superman is a name we have heard before, and that is David Corenswet, who played the projectionist opposite Mia Goth in Pearl, and according to THR is the top contender to be the new Superman. Now, apparently he's doing a screen stage test that will likely take place after Memorial Day or in early June, and it seems like they are solidifying him as the #1 contender. It goes without saying that he completely looks the part and absolutely reminds me of a younger version of Henry Cavill and might be ideal for the part. Like we said, his name has come up in the past, and I'm not surprised to see his name at the top of the list. Now, apparently they did pursue Jacob Elordi, who's probably best known for his time on Euphoria, but their sources say he never actually submitted himself for the role, so he's not being considered. Now, there are a couple other names for Superman being kicked around, and that includes Andrew Richardson and Tom Brittney, both of which, quite honestly, I could see taking up the role of Clark Kent. Now, as for Lois Lane, we have quite the list. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Emma Mackey, who's one of the stars of Netflix's Sex Education, and will appear in Barbie, is at the top of that list, along with Rachel Brosnahan, who's part of The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Bridgerton's Phoebe Dynevor, and Scream 6's Samara Weaving. Now, in the case of this, it's unclear who is going to advance to stage testing, but they are saying Brosnahan is said to have delivered an outstanding audition. But they do go on to point out that she is 32 years old and might be at the top of the window for what Gunn is looking for. Now, THR goes on to say that their sources have cautioned them that some of these are not screen testing and are merely in the mix. One of their sources, without providing any detail, actually dismissed some of the names as a chat room list, and one of their insiders even went on to say that they are, quote, nowhere near a decision. Now, the most interesting person on all this list, though, for me, has to be Lex Luthor, and the name at the top of that list is Nicholas Hoult. Now, Nicholas Hoult is pretty well known in this part of the woods. He actually was the runner-up for Matt Reeves' Batman, took up the role of Hank McCoy in the X-Men series, and most recently was part of Renfield. Now, THR reports that Hoult's name has been swirling around Legacy for a few weeks, and some people were considering he might be the new Superman. But now it looks like he will indeed take up the role of Lex Luthor. Now, the report does go on to say that while these roles are being chased by many of Hollywood's up-and-coming stars, their sources say the movie will be populated by a lot of new faces, and they're actually going to try to repopulate DC heroes in this new world that will already have superheroes established as part of the overall landscape. Now, all in all, I think all of these names sound pretty good. Obviously, James Gunn hasn't chimed in on any of this, and Gunn is known for shooting this stuff down, so I am keeping my eyes peeled for some sort of response from the DC Studios CEO. Quite honestly, all of these names sound really great. It does give you an incredible picture into what James Gunn is looking for the upcoming Superman movie. It seems pretty clear to me he's going to go very traditional with the casting of these roles, and I don't really think there's a bad name on this list, but I am curious how the screen tests work out, and let's be real, actor chemistry matters a lot, and I think particularly for Lois and Clark, and more importantly for Clark and Lex, that is going to be the most important thing in picking these new characters. Now, all this is lining up to something we have been pointing to for a while. I truly believe the new Superman, as well as Lois, Lex, and probably a lot of that supporting cast, will be introduced at San Diego Comic-Con. And if the screen tests are going to be held in early June, these dates match up nicely. How it all works out, we're gonna have to wait and see.